Dear friend, thank you for your endless support. Today we're going to continue with TOEFL listening. We have TOEFL iBT listening question style. We have basic comprehension questions, just content, just purpose, details. Today we're going to have explanation about basic comprehension questions. We call them just content. Usually this kind of question is based on topics that a student interacts with an authority at the university campus. Situation could be like this. For example, a student may have missed some classes. A student has missed an exam or an assignment's deadline. Or maybe a student needs to know what services are offered at the university library. Or maybe conversation mostly ends with the person having the authority reminds the student about the university policy or the rules, or the authority assists a student to come up with a solution to the problem or the issue facing the student. Okay, here we have the situation, could be any of this situation, and also we have resolution for the problem they have it. Throughout the conversation, the listener will understand what kind of relationship is between the authority person and the student. Here is very important to know. And who has the power to decide on making this decision. This is important to know here, the relationship between the two and who will make making the decision. Usually we could see in the listening those kind of phrases: suggestion or recommendation being offered by one of the speakers. Sometimes you say you should maybe do something, or maybe why you don't do this, or why not doing these things. This requires a close attention to what comes after in order to find what the decision is being taken. It should be is being taken. Okay, let's go to the question style, how the question is going to be like. Maybe conversation between two people. We have student, then we have the registrar, a person who is doing registration at the university. Okay, those two we have it. Student, as again you say it, then the registrar. For example, the student could say, I wanted to register for Math 02. Then the registrar will answer, I'm afraid the class is full. Then the student will say, this is the second day of registration. Registrar, why don't you book on the waiting list? Then the question is going to be like this. For example, the narrator will say it with the question. It's going to say, what did the registrar suggested that the student do or to do? Then the answer will be book his or her name on the waiting list. Okay, the question, as we said, is going to be like this. Two people are speaking, and then usually we said it's going to be a situation on the campus between a student or a person who has the authority. And then here also we have to guess what the student will do. For example, tell us here, what does the registrar suggest that the student do or to do? Then the student had no other option. Maybe he was gonna book his name or her name on the waiting list, or maybe decide to go to register in another campus. With tips, how are we gonna approach those kind of questions? We have tips. For example, what is the issue or the problem, including details? Then we have to focus, we have to know what the issue is happening here, and then also to write down as much as information possible for in our note. Then the second one, what is the authority stance? Was he or she helpful or upset regarding the situation happened on the campus? And also we have to focus on this. What solution is being reached, including details? Then we have to know what the solution being presented to the student or by the student here. Then with the detail we have to mention it. What does the man mean? For example, when the registrar told the student what to do. A strategy how we answer this kind of questions. Called a strategy. Take most of the important notes. Here is very important. We have to write down as much as possible the important notes. By how we gonna do it? By sketching your note paper into 3 parts. Then we have to decide to make it 3 parts. For example, part 1, part 2, part 3. Then in part 1, we're gonna mention, for example, student. Then part 2, we're gonna mention authority. Then part 3, the decision being presented by the authority to the person, to the student to follow it. Then how are we gonna do it? Number 1, A, what is the student issue? We have to know what was the student issue. Then problem, then situation. Okay, we have to know what was the situation. Then number 2 or B, what is the authority's general stance? It means what the authority was happy, was sad, was supportive, or was disagreeing with the student. Also, let's go to the third one. We have to make it the resolution recommended to the problem, issue, or situation. Okay, now we have 3 parts of the paper, the way it sketches paper we have it. We decided, as we said it first, for the student, and what's the problem, what's the situation. Then the second one was the authority general stance, and then was the authority helpful, is disagreeing, or supportive. Then number 3, or the third part of the paper, we have to make the resolution and the recommendation being presented. Okay, let's go how we're gonna take the notes. Number 1, we have to understanding the use of various cohesive devices. Number A, use the synonyms to restate the information in your note taking. Number B, write references, word, and idea. Number 3, write single words. That's how we're gonna make it the notes. For example, let's look here, kind of notes, how we could take it. We have cohesive devices reading. For example, difference between reading and speaking and listening. Restating and rephrasing of the information are more proper because there is less direct replication of the information. However, in the other side, we have less restating and rephrasing of the information because there are more direct replication of words and idea. Okay, let's go to the second one, differences between the reading and listening, speaking. Rich in the use of signal words will make them not easy to recognize and understand. However, on the other side, signal words are used frequently, but not to be rich and simple to be understood. The third one, the use of academic organization and written conventions with non-wording ideas as punctuation is used in reading. However, in listening and speaking, the use of academic organization and a spoken convention with changing in the pitch of the voice are used in listening. That's how we're gonna make taking notes. A spoken conventions, we have listening signals, could be such as signs. A spoken convention could be listening signals, signs of acknowledgement, could be agreement, comprehension. Signs of disagreement or confusion could be reminding language. For example, tell the student you have to do this, remind them. Changes in the tone or pitch of the voice, such as raising and falling. Questions, direct or rehearse. Thank you. And for your next class or next clip will be just purpose, when phrases such as why, what, the reason, the case, etc. Then we're gonna give you tips, and then we're gonna give you inferences, and also imply, with meaning imply, how we could imply. Then infer, how we infer it. Then we have assume, then assume, how we assume. Then how we predict. Then also we're gonna give some question style and explanation about. And then also the trick used in inferences question styles. Okay, the trick here will be what the trick used by the TOEFL, when the people who organize the TOEFL use it in inferences or inference question style. Thank you very much for listening.